guys, welcome back to the channel. As you can tell from the title and probably the intro, we're going to be doing intake today. It's an intake from CTS Turbo for the Mk5 and Mk6. I believe it's the same kit. They also provide an installation manual. I have it right here, already prepared, ready to go. I don't know how good that manual is. We'll see how it goes, I guess. If there's something wrong or something weird about it, I'll mention it in the video. Hopefully it's pretty straightforward. So there's been a lot of debate online about whether or not a cold air intake is actually worth it, or is there actually going to be any performance increase. I think it varies, and from car to car, it also varies from the scenario and the condition at the time. Right now it's winter. My guess is that it's probably going to be pretty good. There's probably going to be some performance increase, but to be honest, in my case, in my opinion, the reason I want to do a intake is just because of the sound. And as you can probably tell from the intro, the sound is pretty good. Towards the end of the video, I will post a comparison between the stock and the CTS Turbo intake, how it compares in sound. Hopefully that helps. Also, the Raceland coilovers are still in its highest position. I haven't touched it since the installation video. You can click the link to check that out. Mainly just because it's been snowing for the past couple of weeks. I didn't really want to mess with it, and also I kind of wanted to settle a little bit more because I haven't really driven it that much because of the snow. Obviously, I've been driving my Tiguan, which is right there, more recently because my Tiguan has winter tires. So the update video for the Raceline coilovers will be coming in the future. It will be mostly about adjusting the ride height. Obviously, I wanted to make it even lower compared to what it is right now. So subscribe, hit the like button. But for now, for this video, let's get it going with the CTS Turbo intake. So parts here, manual here, intake ready to be installed. We're gonna start by removing the front air dam cover. This part is pretty simple. There's just two clips on the side, pop it open and you should be able to remove it. Next, we're going to be removing the two T25 Torx from the front air inlet, one located here and the other one located on the other side. To access to these two T25s, you probably will need a longer T25 bit or some kind of extension. Once the Torx are removed, you should be able to remove the front air inlet with a little bit of convincing. We can now disconnect the mass airflow sensor. Depending on the condition of your car, this connector might be very fragile, so be extra careful when removing this. Once it is safely removed, you can just put this somewhere safe on the side. Next, we're going to use a hose clamp plier to remove the OEM hose clamp and put it on the side. Once removed the hose clamp, we can remove the plastic intake pipe from the mass airflow housing. Next, we're going to be removing the screw that is located right here. This should be a 5mm Allen. It would help a lot if you have a Allen bit with a long extension. I unfortunately do not have that, so I have to get a little creative and use the traditional right angle Allen with a plier to make it work. We can now remove the factory air box by pulling it upward slightly. There should be a tab on the right side that you have to use a little force to pull it up. Rotate the air box so that the intake pipes will not interfere with the coolant lines. This step is not mentioned in the CTS Turbo manual, but is very important. Remove the two Phillips head screws on the mass airflow housing and remove the entire mass airflow housing. This housing will be reused for our new intake. Next, we're going to be removing this T30 that is located behind the factory intake pipe. The next step is to loosen the two hose clamps on the turbo inlet. This is probably the most challenging step throughout this whole process, mainly just because it is pretty tricky to access these hose clamps. Once both hose clamps are removed, you should be able to pull out the factory plastic pipe and the rubber pipe. Once the plastic pipe is removed from the rubber pipe, don't just pull out the plastic pipe just yet. there is a small hose that is connected to the bottom of the plastic pipe that will need to be removed as well. This will give you kind of an idea what it looks like before it was removed. You can see that the inside of the rubber pipe is pretty oily. This is normal if you don't have an oil catch can. It is oily because the small hose under the factory intake that we just disconnected is actually the return route of the PCV system. Now we can start the installation of the new intake. Use the silicone pipe that looks like this and install it over the turbo inlet. Make sure to put the provided hose clamp on first. To adjust these hose clamps, you can use a flathead or a 8mm wrench. You don't need to tighten the hose clamps all the way just yet because you probably will need to make some small adjustments. Also remember to place the hose clamps in a manner that it is very easy for you to access the adjustment bolts. Be very careful and don't drop any parts down the turbo inlet because that goes straight to the turbo. It will be very difficult to remove any debris that went into that pipe. We can now start installing the long end of the intake pipe and also make sure to reconnect the PCV return pipe. Next, we're going to be assembling the heat shield. This part is pretty straightforward. Just use the hardware provided and make sure the end result looks like what's in the manual. Install the rubber grommet onto the heat shield. You might need a little force to push this thing in, but once this is in, you can now install the heat shield into your car. You might need to use a little force to push the rubber grommet onto the tab on the car, but once that is in, you should be good. Reuse the factory T25 and secure the heat shield at the front. Use the provided silicone pipes and assemble onto the factory mass airflow housing so it looks like this. Install this whole assembly and make sure that the mass airflow housing is in the right direction. Install the inlet pipe that connects the filter. We can use the provided bolt and secure all these parts together at this location here. You might need to wiggle the parts around to make sure that it all aligns, and this is the reason why earlier I said you don't have to tighten down the hose clamps just yet. We can now install the new filter. Once we are sure that everything fits and everything is in the right position, we can start tightening down all the hose clamps. We can install the weather stripping on the heat shield and also reconnect the mass airflow sensor. Once we are sure that every hose clamp, nuts and bolts are all tight, the installation is complete. All right, let's go for a drive and see what the difference is. Ooh, please don't break. Please don't break. I'm not sure if the GoPro is able to capture the sound of the intake. I don't even know how loud it's going to be, so we'll see. I'm just driving out my neighborhood right now. I don't want to anger any neighbors. So far, I don't feel any difference. So far, it's completely like stock. Okay, I don't know if the mic captured that, but whoa! So when you give it a little bit more throttle, when the engine is under load, it sounds completely different. I'll drive out of the neighborhood and do some more pulls, and we'll see. Oh my God. So different. Okay, so once the engine RPM goes like above 2000 RPM, you can definitely hear it like sucking air in. And then if you did put in good enough of throttle, and as soon as you release it, you hear this big loud hissing noise. It's way louder than stop, way louder. All right, we can kind of stretch our legs a little bit more here. We'll see how it goes. Wow, there really is a big difference in noise. Now, power, maybe there is. I can't really tell, to be honest with you. Even if there is, I don't think it's really a noticeable difference. I did this for the sound, not because I want more power. I think it has good enough power. I don't really want to get any more at this point. But the sound, woo! I really hope the mic is able to capture the intake sound, because I can definitely hear it inside the cabin. Wow. So the noise that it makes really makes you smile. However, I also did notice that before I make this purchase, I did go online and look for some forums, see what people think about this. People were mentioning that there is a whining noise, or like a whistling noise, when you go full throttle. I did notice that with my car as well. Right around like 3000 RPM, like if you, at that point, if you do a full throttle, and once the RPM reaches around like 3000 or a little over 3000, there is this whistling or whining noise. I'm not really sure what it's from. Based on the forum or people online, what they've said, that it's normal with this intake. You can definitely hear it. It's not so loud that it annoys me. However, I did just got this, so I can't really justify that yet. But so far, I am happy with it. The induction noise, seriously, I really hope that this mic is able to capture that. It really does make a fantastic sound. It's such a big difference. Oh my gosh, that is so fun. All right guys, anyways, it was a pretty nice install. It was pretty easy, including filming. I did it in pretty much one afternoon. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Leave a comment down below, let me know what you guys think. Subscribe, hit the like button, help support this channel. And I'll post the comparison videos, or the sound comparisons towards the end, comparing the stock intake and the CTS Turbo intake. So keep watching to look for that, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.